have about 15 books on my physical TBR. I don't know why the sun is just literally in my face right now. I'm also excited because I'm currently watching The Handmaid's Tale. Girl, right now I'm just feeling bored. Hi fairies, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Fifi. It's so nice to have you here. I hope you stay well. Welcome to the second ever TBR takedown video. I don't have the biggest physical TBR right now, but I really want to make it a point to focus on those books that I have physically because I have had so many of them for a long time, like years. I have about 15 books on my physical TBR, but I really want to get that down by a lot. So that's basically what these TBR takedown videos are for, to focus on my physical books, my physical TBR. But I thought that I would try and make these videos more fun by adding themes and trying different things in each video. So in this particular video, we are going to be reading books that I believe are going to be 5-star reads. We are going to be reading books on my physical TBR that I am almost certain will be 5 stars, and honestly I'm so freaking excited. It's currently the 10th of March and I have only had one 5-star book this year. That's really upsetting me because around this time last year I had about 4 5-star books. So I'm like, oh, what the hell is going on? So that's what we're going to be combating. Throughout this year, I've been reading made, forgettable, and honestly kind of bad books. There have been some few standouts, but like, I'm really trying to combat the 3-star hell that I am currently in. So yeah, let's honestly get right into it. The first book I'm going to be reading in this video is this one, The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood. This is going to be my first ever Margaret Atwood book, and I'm so excited because I really have been wanting to get into her works and her books and dive into her discography. I'm also excited because I'm currently watching The Handmaid's Tale on Prime right now. I'm currently on season 5, and honestly that show is just such rage bait. Like, if you are looking for rage bait as a show, that's it, because I get so freaking mad, but I am so awed by it, the amount of nuance that goes into it. I would love to read the actual book, The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, and I plan to get to that soon enough. Either way, I'm really excited for this book. I can't lie, I haven't heard too much about this book. It's not one of our books that people talk much about. I haven't seen too much about it, like I said, but I was really intrigued by the premise. It says, more than 50 years on, Irish Chase is remembering Laura's mysterious death, and so begins an extraordinary and compelling story of two sisters and their secrets. Set against the panoramic backdrop of 20th century history, The Blind Assassin is an epic tale of memory, intrigue, and betrayal. So that doesn't give us too much, but also leaves you wondering like what is going on. So I'm really, really excited to get into these. I feel like it's going to be so freaking good. I feel like it's going to get so much emotion out of me, which is honestly what I am craving right now. I hope it makes me cry. I really do. I hope, it makes me feel deeply. I really have been craving a book that makes me feel intensely. I got a little bit of that with Blood Over Bright Haven by ML Wong. I filmed a reading vlog for that, so you can check it out if you're interested. But yeah, I'm excited to start this, honestly. I will get a little bit into it and I will give you initial thoughts. All right, it's been a couple of days, and I think it's finally time for me to talk about this book. I honestly don't even know how to go about updating you on this book because it's such a weird but intriguing book, and I'm not even sure what's going on right now, and I'm not sure how I feel about it at this time. First of all, as the premise says, we have our character Iris Chase, whose sister Laura basically died. Like she literally ran herself over a cliff, which was kind of insane. Now we are just seeing Iris live life after that occurrence, but we are also getting some insight into who she is as a person, as well as who she used to be and her family background and the people around her. Well, I can't lie, it all just feels very mundane, very listless. It feels like we're loitering around the point and we are yet to get to it. Iris's sister Laura was an author, a famous author, and she had a book apparently called The Blind Assassin. So we are getting some chapters that are chapters from her book. So it's very meta in that way, but also very interesting because I find myself connecting to those chapters so much more. I think they're so much more interesting and fun. Not like much is happening anyway, but I think I prefer those chapters and they are few and far between, unfortunately. Within Laura's book, we have two characters, a man and a woman, and I'm pretty sure we haven't gotten their names, which is very interesting, but we are basically just seeing them form a relationship, I guess, but they cannot be seen with each other. And when they meet up, the man is coming up with stories like a fantastical story of sorts, honestly, an epic high fantasy that is very gruesome, and he's just telling her this story. I'm very confused by it, but I'm very intrigued by the story that he's telling her because I feel like that could be a book of its own. I honestly feel like I would read that. It sounds so interesting. But yeah, altogether, I'm just not gripped. I just don't feel connected too much. I don't even know what is happening and what we are getting at and what the point is right now. I'm just like trudging along. I have made it to page 129. It's divided into parts. So this is part 4, and I am starting this right now. So yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I truly don't know. I obviously have so much more to go. Like I haven't even scratched the surface. Obviously, there's so much more to go. There's so much more that I believe we are going to get, and I hope and believe that I will find myself in love with the book as I get further into it. But right now, I'm just not feeling it. I'm just honestly kind of bored. Like I've been reading this for days now, and I'm only 21% into it. Like I literally cannot deal. I did start an arc yesterday because I felt like this book was almost putting me in a slump. So thank God for that. I don't even know how I feel about that book. I don't know if it's that good. I just was very intrigued by the cover and the premise of it. It's called Everything the Sun Touches. Right now I'm not, hooked or anything, but I have high hopes for the book itself. So I'm obviously going to be reading it in tandem with this one so I can fight off this book slump because honestly, I cannot. Like, I really cannot. I know that I will end up really liking this book, but I think it's going to take me a while before that happens. Honestly, it feels like I'm constantly on the brink of a book slump and I'm truly over it. It's like I'm sick of it. I don't know how I feel about this guy in this book. I can't lie. This guy within the book, within this book, he just seems a little standoffish and he talks to her in a way that I'm not the biggest fan of. Initially, around page 22, I highlighted something that he said. She's dropped a glove, it's by her foot. He's keeping an eye on it. If she walks away forgetting it, he'll claim it, inhale her in her absence. So that could be cute, but also is quite creepy and weird. But then there's this other line in that same page where he said, then you'd have an excuse. You could take it for walks, me and the dog. Like he's saying she should walk him like a dog, like walk him like a dog, yeah, walk him like a dog. And I'm like, okay, like yes, but also he's being a bit rude in other instances. So I'm like, oh girl, watch yourself. Hey guys, it's been so many days. I finished the arc that I told you about, and then I started and finished another arc. I'm going to put both of their ratings up on the screen if you're interested. But yeah, this book this book is such a chore to get through, and it's so sad because I really thought that I would like this book. Right now, I'm just feeling bored. Like, yes, things are happening, but also, like, I don't necessarily care. I'm this far into it, and it's been almost a week or over a week, even, and I'm just like, this is the longest that's taken me to finish a book in a long time, and it's honestly trying to put me in a book slump, which is why I'm trying to, get to quicker arcs that I know will be easier to read and get through because this is just such a slogger. Like, I can't lie, I really like the writing. It's very beautiful, very lyrical. There are so many lines that I have highlighted and so many paragraphs that I have noted. I am enjoying how the story is being told, but also I feel like it's a bit info dumpy at some point, and I'm just not connecting. I'm really not, and it's making me sad because, like I said, I thought this book was going to be a 5 star. In this moment, it's definitely not a 5 star. I'm not even sure it's a 4 star, which is insane. Like, I thought Margaret Atwood was going to be like one of my new favorite authors. Well, yeah, I'm going to keep reading. I hope that I can, lock in and finish it the next day or two because truly I'm over it. I randomly decided to log in today. Okay, I've literally just been sitting here for the past like 3 hours. I started at page 332 and now I am entering chapter or part 12, which is basically page 555. So I've just been here and I've read about over 200 pages, which is great because now I have less than 80 pages left. Honestly, I don't have any new thoughts about this book. I'm just following along the story. Like I said, it's very tasking, very, you know, chore feeling. It's not something that I'm enjoying reading. I can't lie. Well, I think the writing is very beautiful, very lyrical, very poetic, even. I just don't find the progression of the story very entertaining or easy to read. I feel like it's quite predictable, so it feels like what am I even reading this for? No shade. I really do like the writing though. Like I've highlighted so much in this book. Wait, let me read you some of the lines that I've highlighted. If I can see. Hello. This line says, children believe that everything bad that happens is somehow their fault. And in this, I was no exception. But they also believe in happy endings, despite all evidence to the contrary. And I was no exception in that either. So that's very telling as to, what comes of these girls and their lives, it's obviously not looking great for them. This other line I really like, there's nothing more onerous than enforced gratitude. It's just little lines like that about life and the human condition that gets me because I think she has such an eye for it, and the placement always makes so much sense within the context, and it causes it to be quite hard hitting. This other one says winter is something you can go out into, confront, then fall by retreating back indoors. It's very evocative, and very immersive too. I'm really, really enjoying, the writing, but the storytelling, I'm just like, oof. It's a bore, I can't lie. This paragraph I highlighted says romance takes place in the middle distance. Romance is looking in at yourself through a window clouded with dew. Romance means leaving things out. Real life grunts and snuffles, romance only sighs. Like, hello? I mean, that's all for now. I'm going to keep reading. Like I said, I have less than 80 pages. So I'm going to like wrap this up right now so I can be done with this book. I'm really sad that that's how I'm feeling about this book, but to be honest, I cannot wait to be over with it. No shade. How did the war creep up? How did it gather itself together? What was it made from? What secrets, lies, betrayals? What loves and hatreds? What sums of money? What metals? Hope throws a smoke screen. Smoke gets in your eyes, and so no one is prepared for it. But suddenly it's there, like an out of control bonfire, like murder, only multiplied. It's in full speed. Yeah, yeah, I love the writing. I just wish I loved the story and the pacing and the progression. You really need to check your trigger warnings when it comes to this book. If you want to get into it, check your trigger warnings because there's a lot here. But a lot of this is also quite predictable. Like we just got a reveal of sorts, and like I could have told you that like 300 pages ago. No shade. But like I like how that came about and how we got the reveal alongside our main character Iris, and it's very sad obviously. I just feel like it doesn't have that much emotional impact on me personally. I think it's just because I'm detached from the book right now and I truly just want to be over with it. But yeah, that is pretty sad. So very late last night, I finished this book, The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood. This is arguably one of my most conflicting reads because generally I really enjoyed the writing, loved it even, but I could not get down with the story. I felt like the story was too predictable and quite boring, and the way it was being told was exhausting, as I said over and over again now. I think the story within a story concept is very hard to pull off within a book. And while it wasn't the worst thing ever in this book, I just couldn't find the point of it all. Like, what was the point of telling the story using a story written by a person in this story? Like, it's kind of weird because it doesn't really prove much other than give us a little bit more insight into a character in the story or characters within the story. But then I feel like other methods could have been used. And then we are given this reveal at the end about who actually wrote the story, and it's like, well, I could have told you that like 100 pages in. But yeah, I did find how everything came together quite nice. Not nice, but like enjoyable for the most part. I just couldn't really justify how long I spent reading this book because it feels like I gained next to nothing. No shade, but I can admittedly say that it was a good book. Like it was written so well. I just wish it wasn't so freaking boring. So all that being said, I think I'm going to settle on a 3.75 star for this book. I am very curious now as to what other Atwood books are like. I am still going to keep trying. The next book I want to read, I think, is The Handmaid's Tale because I just finished the adaptation, the series adaptation, and I really, really liked it. And I heard the book is really good too. So hopefully that one gives me a little bit more. But yeah, this was just underwhelming. It's been almost a week since I last spoke to you guys. I'm so sorry. I've kind of been neglecting this reading vlog, but we are back to start our second and final book of this video. The book I'm going to be reading is The Saving Graces by Patricia Gaffney. This is a literary fiction, I believe. It says, imagine a bond that is richer than that between siblings, stronger than those within a marriage. Four ordinary women have just found this, and after more than 10 years of shared life, their friendship has become a remarkable and invincible force. So we are basically going to be following the friendship and lives of these four women from different backgrounds. It says here the love, loyalty, and courage of four women put to the ultimate test. So I'm assuming it's going to be very tumultuous, very, heartbreaking, maybe, deeper and more emotional. And honestly, I am very much eager to read something like that right now. I'm kind of yearning for something that would rip me apart a little bit. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this. It's not too long, I believe, about 300 and something pages. So hopefully in the next few days I can finish this. But obviously I'm going to start it and then I will let you know what my initial thoughts are. Hey guys, I don't know why the sun is just literally in my face right now, but try to ignore that. I wanted to come on here and give you an update on this book before I get any further. Just let you know my initial thoughts. I am currently 50 pages into it. I am on chapter 7, and I don't know how I feel necessarily. As I said, the book is following these four women: Isabella, Lee, Emma, and Rudy. We are getting each of their point of views. And one thing that I really don't love when it comes to books with multiple point of views is when there's not a very distinct tone for each of the characters. So we are in all these different people's heads, and yet all of them sound quite familiar. Like, obviously, different things are going on in their lives, so that is giving it a bit of that distinction, but it's not as direct as I would like it to be. So that is a problem that I am having. But generally, I am enjoying the story so far. Each of these women are going through some very interesting things in their lives. It says that the fact that when tragedy strikes out of the blue, they are faced with the unthinkable. The bond that holds them together is shaken to its core. So I'm very curious as to what that would be. And I am intrigued. That's what I can say about the story so far. But when it comes to the writing, I do have some problems. Okay, I enjoy it for what it is because it is getting the story across relatively well enough, and it is informative but not too info dumpy. I am enjoying how the writing is and how the story is being told, but I have found some problems with the grammar of it all. There have been some typographical errors. I don't even know if I could call them typographical errors, honestly, because it really feels like the author doesn't know any better. Like, one problem that I have, and I have been having for a while now, is the fact that some authors apparently don't know when to really use a comma. Like, in my opinion, commas are basically the backbone of English grammar. So when I see an author misplace a comma or not use a comma where a comma is supposed to be, I'm like, oh, come on, oh, brother. Especially when it's a traditionally published author, I'm like, girl, come on. And the editor didn't catch that. So one of those instances is when you use the phrase I for one, you have to put a comma after I and then a comma after one. So it's I, comma, for one, comma, blah, 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 blah. And apparently this author does not know that, and the editor didn't catch that. So it's just I for one as a run-on sentence. And it's like, well, no. And there have been multiple instances of that so far where there's just not a comma where it should be, and just like clunky writing, I guess I would say. I'm personally just a stickler for that kind of thing, honestly. I know it aggravates some people because it's like I'm being too nitpicky or doing too much, but things like that matter, especially when you are a traditionally published author. Come on, let's lock in. Let's actually study English before we actually write a book and put it out for people to purchase with their money and consume. No shade. Aside from that, as I said, I'm very intrigued as to where the story is going. I hope it doesn't drag too much because right now we're just getting basically their backstories and trying to understand them as people. But I am excited to see this book bloom because it says that this book will make you laugh and weep in equal measure. And like I said, that's really something that I am yearning for right now. So I'll see you when I get further into it for another update. I am really liking how the writing generally is. Like this particular chapter 7, starts off saying, what do you do when you look at a piece of modern art and it looks like nothing at all? Your mind goes blank and you can't even think of a joke or something smart mouth to say about it if you happen to be viewing it with a pal, and all you can think is, either I'm crazy or you are Mr. Big Shot Artist. And since you've got this exhibit in a real building and all these people are standing around contemplating your stuff and saying intelligent things about it must be me. Well, what do you do? The second paragraph is, what I do is get out as fast as I can without saying much of anything, and I also try to drink as much of the cheap white wine as I can if it's an opening, so at least the night isn't a total loss. And plus, I find I have a lot more to say about the artist's oof if I am, how shall I say, slightly oiled. So that's the kind of thing within the writing that I am really liking, the progression of it all, these sentences and paragraphs that come together to form something that feels almost metaphorical. So yeah, I just wish there weren't these typographical or ignorant errors. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm excited, honestly. I I don't want to spoil anything, but this particular chapter is from the POV of Emma, who is getting involved with a married man. She's not involved at this point, but I'm scared that she will eventually get involved with him. I personally don't like depiction of cheating in books and media in general, so I don't know how I will feel about that, but you know, I guess we'll see. I'm much further into this book now. I'm on chapter 20, page 248. So about like 60 something percent into it. I wouldn't know. But yeah, I think I'm liking it a lot more now, a lot more than I was when I gave you my last update. I think the writing is coming together quite nicely now. It is, you know, working alongside the story to produce something more substantial than I initially thought. It's obviously nothing special, it's very basic, a very basic story about love and friendship, and I'm sure eventually grief, as this book honestly feels quite predictable. But yeah, I'm enjoying the story, I'm enjoying how it's panning out. It is a bit slow, I can't lie. This like past 20 pages or like 50 pages have been quite slow, but obviously that is something that you would expect from a literary fiction, especially midway in. So yeah, I'm not like, you know, screaming about it from the rooftops, obviously, but I'm liking it so much more than I was. So I'm grateful for that. It's sad because I thought this was going to be a 5-star, and obviously that is not going to be the case. Even though I'm not hating it, it's definitely not going to be a 5-star book. I'm just thankful that I'm not hating it, honestly. Like that's literally all I can do these days. Like be grateful that I'm not completely hating it because it has been rough out here. Rough as hell. Yeah, I'm going to keep going. I think the next time I speak to you, I would have finished this book. I will then let you know what my final thoughts are. But right now, it's not looking bad. It's looking pretty okay, actually. I am on chapter 29, page 367 of this book. I think I have less than 30 pages left. I didn't realize that the book actually ends here. The rest of this is like an excerpt from a different book by this author, which I will not be reading. No shade. I have less than 30 pages left of this book. The thing that everybody thought and knew was going to happen has finally happened. Okay. And I am curious as to how we'll wrap this up. I think I can tell, but I think it's going to be a little bit corny. But, you know, let's see. I just cannot get down with this plot line where this character is in love with a married man, and we're going to get a cop battle with him finally, you know, breaking up with his wife and separating from her. But like, it's still gross, it's still icky. I just I can't deal with it, honestly. Like, they don't even have chemistry. They really don't, and they're going to end up together apparently. All right. Yeah, okay. Pretty freaking predictable, can't I? But like, not bad, I guess. Alright, guys, it's the first day of April, so I guess happy April and happy April Fools. I don't know. But as you saw, I finished this book, The Saving Graces by Patricia Gaffney. Honestly, I came to really, really enjoy this book way more than I initially thought I would. Actually, I initially thought I would give it 5 stars, which was the whole point of, you know, reading it in this vlog. But then when I got a little bit into it, I was like, I'm not quite sure this isn't really giving me 5-star feelings. And it didn't give me 5-star feelings right till the end, but I still really enjoyed it. At the end of the day, I liked it quite a bit. I really liked the whole storyline following all these four women and their separate lives, and you know, seeing them go through so many different things. They went through a number of hardships in their separate lives as well as within their friendship, and it just came together to be a very wholesome, very sad, but you know, invigorating read, a very inspiring read of sorts. I ended up liking the writing a lot more. I found it a little bit lyrical and, quite poetic, not necessarily, but still very much introspective and immersive. All these women genuinely felt quite real, and they felt like real people going through real life issues, especially in the time that this is set in. So I really enjoyed that. I will say that the book generally felt very much predictable and mundane. I think once you read the synopsis of this book, as well as like two chapters, you can immediately tell where it's going and what will come of it. So it wasn't anything necessarily special or remarkable. I do think it's been more of a forgettable book down the line. I don't really see myself going back and thinking about this book and the characters. All in all, I did enjoy for what it was, and I'm excited to read more of this author's work because I do have another book by her. So yeah, I think I'm going to settle on a 3.5 for this one, or maybe a 3.25. I don't know, but that's it basically. That actually brings us to the end of this video. The whole point of this video was to find a 5-star, was to read books that I thought would be 5 stars, but none of them were in fact 5 stars, unfortunately. Regardless though, I got 2 books of my physical TBR, which is the overall point of these videos, so I'm happy for that. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of the books that I spoke about in this video. If you would like to, just talk to me down below. I love reading and replying comments. It's one of my favorite pastimes. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram if you want to be book besties or just besties in general. I would really love and appreciate that. For now though, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.